Hey guys, what's going on? So today, what I'm going to cover with you is how exactly lead mining saves you 20 hours a week. This is not just some arbitrary number I pulled out of the air. It's probably more, to be honest with you. But I wanted to cover everything that goes into pulling a list, skip tracing it, what we actually do, how it's not maybe just this simple process, right? Sometimes we can just think about that, but it has to be done right. It has to be done accurately. It has to be done promptly, right? And then we have to make sure that the employees don't deviate from these systems. So in all, we hire, we train, we manage, and we develop these employees. We have to hold them accountable. We have to write them up. We have to discipline them. We have to give them raises. There's all these things that we have to do when we run a business. For all the people that want to bring it in-house, there's certain things you should bring in-house, and that's everything that you need to put your hands on. Anything that's your extreme level of expertise, that's what we bring in-house. Acquisition managers, closers, maybe even transaction coordination, things that really make the big difference that you don't think you should hire out. Now, there's these other tasks that are in the middle somewhere where it's not really your specialty to have to know how to tie together these 20 processes, right? And creating a cold calling or text messaging division, there's a lot of processes. We have to pull the list from the right sources with the right criteria. We have to know the criteria. Like what's your system to even telling your VA a list to pull? They're like, yeah, hey, pull a list in Lakeland, Florida. Okay, well, they pull every record in Lakeland, Florida. Oh, I didn't mean every record. I meant absentee owners. There's all the absentee owners. Oh, I meant with equity, right? Oh, well, here's the equity. You learn all this stuff the hard way. There's so many things you don't even think about. Well, what I'm going to cover today is exactly what we do for you and how it saves you 20 hours. There's so much more nuance to all these things that you could imagine. So I have a screen share pulled up in the background, and I'm going to go ahead and get that up now. Now, one of the first things we do for you guys, well, is actually you get to meet with me. So I don't know if you know that, but most people book a one-on-one call with me. And we do this to strategize. Okay. So that's the first thing that we do. I love this software, by the way. It's called Miro. If you guys like mind maps, this is the shit. I use it all the time. All right. So one-on-one phone call to strategize. That's me. Bam. Okay. First of all, if you outsourced, you don't have anyone to guide you. You're the boss. You're the final say. So everything you hire for, you need to be the expert in. So one of the perks here is you get an in-house expert. Okay, that's me. I'm always at your disposal. Call my cell phone number anytime. Text me, whatever you got to do. I'm here for my clients. Most of them definitely know that. All right. So bam, we get an in-house expert. That's already one way I save you time. Now let's say I can work, you guys, you get on 20-minute calls with me. If I do the sales call with you, my time is probably worth a lot of hours. We won't even equate that, right? We won't even go there. Next up, after the sales call, what we do is we strategize. So now we know the criteria. Okay. So now we pull the list. Okay. Well, what does list pulling mean? Well, it means we got to get the criteria, right? And a form. So we have a form that we have you fill out that tells us all the information. Then what we do is we log into our, what is it? CoreLogic software. Okay. So we log into the software platform. Okay, if you had an employee, you would have to give them the login credentials and then train them how to use this software. Okay, has anyone ever trained a VA to use a software, or have you just given them the login and asked them to train themselves? Well, that doesn't always work. These softwares cost money. The more records you pull, the more money it costs you. When they make mistakes, it costs you money. So we do all the training. Our team is expertly trained. We've been pulling lists for 7 years, and a lot of it with the same exact staff. So we know exactly what to do. We know what looks right. Okay. We then input all the criteria. This could be anything from list type. Let's see if we can list type, equity, value, and that's good enough. So then we go in there and we have to put all these things, and that's how we get your criteria. There's like location, we'll add location in there, right? So all those things have to be put in. Now we get all your records, we export them out for you. Not only do we export them, but we name them. We actually have a naming convention. Okay. And named for organization. So when we name them, it's client name, list type, amount of records, record count, zip codes. Okay. So whenever we have these things, we know everything about it. I'll actually downspace here so we can see that better. So client name, list type. So Nicholas Nick, absentee owners, 800 of them. And then here's all the zip codes. So now just by looking at the name of the list, we know exactly what's in there. We've got years of training to figure these kinds of things out. And you'd be surprised, anyone who has their own employees, it takes months to install this level of consistency. So everything is named appropriately for you. Now, this is just list pulling, okay? Then what we do after we pull the list, we skip trace it, okay? When we skip trace the list, we make sure it has all the fields. We log into our software. We manually upload the list. We don't do it. I don't do any APIs. We want this to be as accurate as possible every time we match fields for you. And every time we pull a list, there's a lot of other companies out there that what they do is if they already pulled this record before, they'll give you the old information. Anytime someone places an order with us, it's a fresh queue to the server, to the information. It's not old stuff ever. Okay, so we manually input the record. And then we export the list. And then what we do is we actually attach it to the dialing software. Okay. And I'll actually make this here. Let's see if we can, how organized we could get. So we use Call Tools. Okay, that's no secret. Call Tools is one of the best. Absolutely love them. We've been using them for 5 years. We're on their version 2, and it's all programmed wonderfully. So I love it. So we use Call Tools. We then upload the list. We set up all the criteria, set up the campaign. Now, anyone who uses Call Tools or these dialers, these campaign setups, they're not that easy. Okay, there's a lot of different questions we get asked, forwarding phone numbers. That's the other thing we do. We buy phone numbers for you. So we already know to buy from the form that we had you fill out. Back over here, you fill out, put criteria in a form. We ask you what area is local to your market, and then we buy 3 local phone numbers for you. Okay. And then our dialing system automatically cycles through those 3 phone numbers. And that way the numbers don't get marked as spam likely. So no matter how big your order is, that's exactly what we do for you. So after we buy them, we attach them to your campaign. We set up call forwarding if you asked us to, completely free. And then the campaign's ready. So we upload the file, we set up the campaign, we buy the phone numbers, we attach the phone numbers, and we set up call forwarding. And then what we also do is we attach the script. So each campaign has its own script attached so the cold callers can see it. All right. So when we think about us giving you your time back, look how much work we did yet, and we haven't even begun dialing. And I think that's extremely important to understand because we haven't even done the work yet. And here we are, like, this is a lot. We pulled the list, we made sure the employee's trained, we skip trace it. Now we've uploaded it to Call Tools. None of this the cold caller hasn't even begun to work yet. So when you think, oh, I'm going to hire an in-house cold caller, who's doing all of this? And that's the first thing, you know? And then the next part is, who is the cold caller? Are they American? Are they foreign? Which that is what we do next for you. So next up, we bring in an American. Okay. So these guys, they go through a rigorous training. All right. My average employee's been with me for 4.5 years. Okay. They go through 2 weeks of training intensely. Let's update that. And there's always someone there. Then we have weekly meetings for 2 months. Then we have monthly meetings as well. So we have this whole system brought into place where once they hit a certain level, and that's the other thing that we do, so all employees that work for me have to generate a certain amount of leads to even work for me. I want you to think of like an Olympic team, right? So no one's on the Olympic team that can't meet qualifications. Well, our qualifications are that you have to get at least one lead every 2 hours on average to be on the team. Okay, now that comes up to about a lead in every 300 to 350 dials. Okay, somewhere in there. And that is very important. And that's nationwide. Every employee has to average that. They cannot dip below that. That is the minimum. If you dip below that, I then have a training system. We then train them for 2 more weeks if they do not hit that. If they still don't hit it, they need to go move on to another career. Okay, we have all these systems built in for you that most people don't even realize. And again, this is before the person even starts, right? All these standards, all these qualification, all this training, and the person hasn't even started yet. So I would wager to say that there's at least 30 hours in front of us that you haven't even had to worry about. Okay. And we haven't gotten to the calls yet, and we haven't gotten to the texting. Okay. So now let's do the callers begin. They dial everyone at least twice. If they don't answer, they follow a proven script. They report wrong numbers, bad conversations. So my team, we know to talk to each other. As soon as something goes wrong, if someone's on a campaign and there's a bunch of wrong numbers, they hit the big red button. Hey, there's a problem here. Hey, everyone's mad at me. Hey, everyone's screaming at me. Hey, you guys should know this. So we're getting live feedback all the time. This is already trained. You know, the average person either deals with it or quits, right? My team knows to bring it up so we can identify patterns for our clients. So that's another service that we offer. And whenever we generate a lead, it comes over to you the second it's generated, and you get a text message. So we do all of that for you in a completely turnkey way. All of this goes off. And then on average, they dial probably close to 150 dials per hour. Okay. Now, these guys come in, they kick butt. You don't have to worry about the morale. Okay, that's one thing I should probably add here. You know, we manage their morale, right? And performance. Like you might not even realize what have a couple of employees and you have to play therapist to them. I enjoy it, right? Some people don't. Some people do, right? But it's like what we have to do here to make sure that this person shows up to work every day. You don't have to worry about. Cold calling is easily the hardest job in existence. Easily. They get yelled at and cussed at. I had a woman that spoke to me today. Said, Nick, I've been making my own calls, and one lady told me to go F myself. Another person said, you're a thief. Another person said, don't quit your day job. Okay. And then she's like, Nick, I don't think I can do this. And I said, it's funny. When people pay us, they think they pay us for lead gen, but they actually pay us to get abused so they don't have to be, to shield them from those horrible experiences. When you're doing this, you do not have the time to get yelled at and screamed at. Yeah, that's not why you're doing this so your boss doesn't yell and scream at you anymore, not so more people yell and scream at you, right? And so we shield you from that. And then because of that, I then sometimes have to work with our cold callers to make sure that they're happy. Hey, don't let that bother you. We have to go in. We actually have to have that emotional connection. They don't just show up and get pounded all day and then pick themselves up every time. Sometimes they need someone to talk to. We handle that for you. That's one of our big secrets. Because you know what? If they're happy, then they're getting more leads. Anyone who's unhappy is not getting leads. It's that simple. So I focus on my employees' happiness so you can get the results that you need. All right, so then we offer text messaging. And on top of this, all this stuff has a sheer cost. So let's say my dialer is about $150 per user, right? The American callers, they're about 20 to 25 per hour. Okay. Skip tracing, all this stuff has a cost associated with it. So not only is all of our costs worked into the price, but all of these things, not only do you need an employee, do you have to pay for it, but that it itself has a monthly cost. So like text messaging platform, like what is the one? Launch Control, they charge $500 a month. If you don't send a single text message, you're paying $500 more next month. And there's no rollover. You don't get all those conversations back. You paid and you lost because you didn't take advantage of it. So all these things have a standardized cost. It's not all just how much is the employee that I'm putting on it. All right. So text messaging, we have to find a reliable software. And the thing about texting, you guys know you have to manage it. Your phone numbers get flagged. You have to replace those. They get shut down and suspended. I spoke to a client today. He said, I'm not dealing with this if I'm going to get suspended. I said, you don't get suspended with us. We handle everything. All you do is get leads and we handle the rest. All right. So you don't have to manage. You have to manage the A2P registration. You have to train a VA on the software and the systems. You need to have like a quick reference guide available for them. Like they're texting all day. They don't always know what these words mean, right? They don't know that at all. They actually have to have everything spelled out for them. So hey, you said this, they might make a sarcastic reply. If they do, you need to say this, right? So we have actually a huge document that we give them that if they say this, you say that. So you have to have a document, say a training document available. And then you have to train them on it, make sure that they're using it. All right. And then each text message has a cost too, above the employee. All right. So we do all this for you, but we do one other thing that's a big deal for you. So this is where every week I offer those one-on-one Zoom calls. Okay. So every week you can meet with me and talk about your campaign and discuss how it's going. Okay, that level of expert advice, you don't get that from a VA. You don't call your VA and you go, how's it going? They say, oh, the list is bad. Oh, the phone numbers aren't good. They just blame everything that they're working on, but you don't get an actual expert analysis of exactly what's happening. I met with a bunch of clients today about their campaigns and I break it all down for them. I can actually pull one up here for you guys. That'll be good. So on one of these Zoom calls, pull up Michael here. So on one of these Zoom calls, we went in here and I spoke to Michael about the results of his campaign. Okay. We did 1,000 dials, 126 people answered, 7 became a lead. Those are amazing results. Absolutely amazing. We actually got a lead in every 143 dials. Wow. Like, when was the last time you got that? I'll wait. I'm just kidding. So then on the 126 people we called, only 12 people told us that we had the wrong number. That means 90% of the people we spoke to actually were the person that we were calling for. These numbers are so good. So we spoke to 90% of the people, and 12.6% of the people we called answered. So remember, I told you we buy 3 phone numbers? We have that whole system figured out to get results like this. Then we text messaged everybody, 500 text messages, 55 people replied, and 3 became a lead. Also great results. We got a texting lead in every 167 text messages. This campaign was very successful. But it's these kind of things that I offer you, all clients, completely for free to then go alongside their campaigns. You actually get expert analysis and expert guidance every step along the way. And this stops you from wasting even more time and more money going in the wrong direction. So if you really think, not only does the whole system save you 20 hours a week, but then at the end of the week, you meet with me, and then I save you even more time by shortcutting your mistakes, by minimizing the problems, and by making sure you're taking as perfect action as possible. There's a bunch of things we have to fail forward on, and then there's a bunch of things we don't have to fail forward on. People's emotions should be the only thing that throws us off guard. Our systems and processes will not be throwing us off guard. So you get the expert advice, I save you the time, and then I give you best demonstrated practices. What are other clients doing? What's everyone else up to? And that's actually, you're in one of the courses, so you learn best demonstrated practices. That's the irony. I've done so many of these calls, I actually already know what it is. I don't need you to wait to book a call now. I can tell you exactly what you should be doing to close deals, which is what we're doing, which is exactly what we are doing here. So we do all this for you. All of this is done for that one low price. Okay. So when you think about, oh, this is a certain amount, like there is a lot happening behind the scenes here. All right. And we're knocking it all out. Now, all you have to do is call the leads, which that's exactly why this course is being created right now. So you can call the leads. I've learned that if I make it as simple as possible on you, then you will be able to call the leads and close the deals. If you are overwhelmed or if you are stressed out or anything like that, it is going to slow you down and you might not even make a call at all. So that's exactly why I'm making this. You could say, why are you making, what is this? What are you doing this for us for? I need you guys to be more successful. So then naturally, in turn, I get more successful. If I can get you guys to close more deals and be more efficient, then I will close more deals and I will be more efficient. So this is a symbiotic relationship, you and I, which is important with all of your vendors. I think it's important for all the vendors we work with to have this kind of attitude towards their customers. And anyone I ever refer you to, I make sure that they have this attitude because it's that important to me. And plus, when I'm a customer, I'm kind of a really big pain in the ass. So I try to build my systems to make me happy. Because I wanted to cover this video. I wanted you to know all the time that lead mining saves you. If we go back to this thing, we haven't even really started the work yet. This is just the setup in the system. And we pull the list for you. We make sure we have the right info. We use our software. We make sure we input the right info. And then we export it. We name it so we can organize it. We get you accurate phone numbers. We attach your list to the cold calling software. We put our trained Americans with qualifications that they have to meet every week in order to be on the team. We cold call everyone, we text message everyone, and then you get to meet with me. Lucky you at the end of each week. And then I'll cover the stats with you. I'll explain exactly what's going on, what I think we should do next. And if you have a bunch of leads, I work with you on your system to get them under contract. And if we don't have a bunch of leads, I help you pick a better market or better criteria so you get more leads next time. All right, guys, until next time.